A 71-year-old man passed away this morning. He wasn't famous. He didn't invent the internet or write a best-selling memoir. But he left something behind that's harder to define, and maybe even more important, his story. And here's the twist. His story might just be yours. Now, before you think this is going to be another somber reflection about aging and mortality, let me stop you right there. Because this isn't just about a man who died. It's about how he lived, and what we can learn from that. Whether you're 51 or 81, whether you feel like life is just beginning or just catching its breath, this video is for you. So let's rewind the clock. Let me tell you about Harold. He wasn't a celebrity, but in his neighborhood he was a legend. The kind of man who still waved at people from his porch, even if he didn't know their name. He wore socks with sandals, unapologetically. Danced terribly at weddings, but did it anyway. And gave the kind of hugs that made you feel like everything was going to be okay, even when it absolutely wasn't. But here's what stood out about Harold the most. He paid attention. He noticed the changing seasons. He remembered your birthday. He listened, really listened, when you talked. You know how rare that is? When he passed away this morning, the world didn't shake. But for the people who knew him, something quietly shifted. And maybe that's where we begin. Lesson 1. Time is the one thing you never get back. Harold used to say, "I've got fewer years ahead of me than behind me, so I'm not wasting any more of them ironing pants." And he meant it. In his 60s, he stopped trying to impress people. He stopped hosting dinners out of obligation. He started saying no to things that drained him, and yes to things that lit him up even if they seemed small. A new book, a new plant, a walk with his granddaughter, even if it was just around the block. He'd laugh and say, "At my age, a good pair of slippers and a quiet afternoon is better than a cruise to the Bahamas." And you know what? He was right. So what can we learn from that? If you're over 50, and I say this with love, what are you waiting for? You don't need to attend every Zoom call. You don't need to go to brunch with people who make you feel like less. You don't need to keep that uncomfortable blouse that might fit again someday. Time is precious. Your attention is sacred. Stop giving it away like it's candy on Halloween. Lesson 2. Style isn't about fashion. It's about confidence. Now let's talk style, because Harold was not stylish by any mainstream definition. Unless you count his collection of vintage bowling shirts and a deep emotional commitment to khaki shorts. But let me tell you something. When Harold walked into a room, people noticed. Why? Because he was comfortable in his own skin. And that's the secret. Too often, women over 50 are told to dress appropriately, as if style has an expiration date. Let's cancel that idea right now. You want to wear bold colors? Do it. You love a sharp blazer over yoga pants? Go for it. You feel your best in that flowy scarf that reminds you of your trip to Greece in '98? Honey, wear it like a crown. Harold may not have known the difference between linen and lyocell, but he knew how to carry himself, and that's all that matters. So, next time you're staring into your closet, wondering what to wear, remember this. It's not about impressing others. It's about dressing like someone who likes herself. Lesson 3. You don't have to do it all. You just have to do what matters. Harold was not a multitasker. If he was reading, he was reading. If he was eating, he was eating. If he was talking to you, he was fully there. No checking his phone, no halfway listening. He used to say, "If God wanted me to juggle, he would have made me a clown." And maybe we should all stop juggling. Stop trying to be the perfect daughter, the perfect grandmother, the Pinterest perfect holiday host. Life is not a competition. It's a collaboration. It's okay to say, "I need help." It's okay to say, "I'm tired." It's okay to leave the dishes in the sink and sit down with a glass of wine and your favorite old movie. The people who matter don't mind. And the ones who mind probably need a herald in their life. Lesson 4. Relationships are the only thing that last. When they cleaned out Harold's house, they found exactly one safe. No gold, no secret fortune, just a bundle of old letters tied with a ribbon and a flash drive labeled "Photos I Love." That was his treasure. Pictures of birthday parties, Sunday barbecues, Christmas mornings with too many ornaments and not enough chairs. And letters. Oh, the letters. From his wife, his kids, even a few from neighbors who thanked him for mowing their lawn when they had surgery. Those moments, those people, that's what he held close. And that's a reminder to us all. The best investment you'll ever make isn't in stocks or real estate. It's in people, in showing up, in staying in touch, in saying "I love you" even when it feels awkward. Especially then. Lesson 5. Laughter is the best legacy. Harold once fell into a kiddie pool at a family BBQ and shouted, "I've discovered Atlantis!" And rather than be embarrassed, he laughed louder than anyone else. That was his magic. He didn't take himself too seriously, even when his knees cracked every time he stood up, even when he forgot where he put his glasses, while they were on his head. He laughed at life, and life laughed back. So what can we take from that? Simple. Lighten up, tell the joke, laugh at the mess, dance like you've still got cartilage. Life is ridiculous and beautiful and fleeting, and every single one of us is just trying to figure it out. Let's talk about Harold's biggest regret. Now, if you're expecting something dramatic, a lost love, a fortune squandered, or a long-lost sibling in a distant land, think again. Harold's biggest regret? I waited too long to say how I really felt. He once told his daughter, I spent 40 years trying to be the strong one. Thought that meant not crying at funerals or saying "I'm proud of you" too often. Now I realize strong men cry. And they definitely say "I love you." Here's the part that'll tug at your heart a bit. He had written letters, dozens of them, notes he never sent. To his wife, thanking her for staying when times got hard. To his best friend from the army, apologizing for the argument they never resolved. To his younger self, telling him to stop worrying so much about what other people think. So many words, so many moments missed. But, and this is the important part, he started saying them. Not all at once, and not perfectly, but he did. And here's what we can take away. It's never too late to say what needs to be said. You can still write the letter. You can still call the friend. You can still show up, even if you think too much time has passed. Because the clock's ticking, yes, but it hasn't run out yet. Lesson 6. Success is redefined at every age. When Harold retired, he threw out every business card he ever had. Not because he didn't value his career. He did. He worked hard. He supported his family. He was proud of what he built. But he realized something crucial. What we chase in our 30s shouldn't be the same thing we chase in our 70s. In his words, "I used to think success was having a corner office. Now I think it's waking up with no alarm clock, brewing a cup of coffee, and knowing I've got nowhere I have to be." Let that sink in. Success in your golden years isn't about achievement. It's about alignment. Do your days reflect your values? Are you spending time with people who bring peace, not pressure? Are you doing things that make you feel like yourself again? Like gardening, writing, volunteering, or just sitting in the sun with a good book and a cat that ignores you until dinner? You get to rewrite the definition of success at any age, and you should. Lesson 7. Your body will change, but your worth won't. Harold had a saying, "If I wake up and nothing new hurts, I must be dead." He said it with a laugh, of course. But he was honest about the aches, the stiffness, the slower mornings. Still, he didn't let it define him. He stayed active, not to stay young, but to stay alive. He walked with a group of friends every morning. They called themselves the Slow-Mo Crew, stretched in the living room with yoga videos from 2004, and swore by turmeric even though he had no idea what it did. But the real wisdom came in how he treated himself. He didn't shame his aging body. He didn't hide behind baggy clothes or avoid mirrors. He looked in the mirror and said, "There's a man who's lived. Ladies, this part is for you. Your body will change. Skin softens. Gravity introduces herself, and she never leaves. But you don't become less valuable. You become more. Every wrinkle, every line, every curve that wasn't there before, that's a page in your story. Don't erase it. Don't hide it. Embrace it. Because the goal was never to stay young. The goal was to grow older with grace and guts." Lesson 8. Decluttering isn't just about stuff. It's about energy. When Harold turned 70, he started decluttering, but not just the attic. He decluttered relationships that felt one-sided. He let go of commitments that drained him. He donated clothes he hadn't worn in 10 years, except his lucky bowling shirt. That stayed. He even stopped pretending to like jazz. He hated jazz. But the real magic? He felt lighter, not just in his home, but in his spirit. Here's the tip. If it doesn't bring you joy, peace, or usefulness, it's probably just noise. So yes, clean out that closet. But also, unfollow the people who make you feel not good enough. Say no to events you dread. Donate that guilt-ridden treadmill that's become a coat rack. Life's too short for clutter, physical or emotional. And bonus tip, once you clear the space, you make room for the things that do matter. Like yoga mats, our grandchildren, or cheese boards. Lesson 9. Routine is a love language. Harold made his wife a cup of tea every night at 9 p.m. They didn't even talk sometimes. He'd hand it to her, sit beside her, and they'd just be. Same mug, same chair, same gentle silence. It wasn't grand. It wasn't Insta-worthy. But it was love. And that's the thing we forget. Rituals are just as powerful as romance. A weekly walk with a friend. Your skincare routine at night. Reading before bed. It's not about excitement. It's about consistency, familiarity, comfort. Harold understood that love isn't just built on passion. It's built on showing up, over and over again, in the little things. So ask yourself, what tiny habit could you create that speaks love to yourself? To someone else? Sometimes the best parts of life aren't the loudest. They're the most regular. And then there was his final note. Harold left behind a journal. Not dramatic, just a small notebook tucked into his nightstand. And on the last page, in his neat, careful handwriting, he wrote this. "I am not afraid. I have said what I needed to say. I have laughed, loved, forgiven, and been forgiven. I wish I had danced more and eaten more pie. But overall, I was here, and I did not waste it." That's it. That was the final page of his life. So what can we take from Harold? We can stop waiting. Stop waiting for the right time to take that trip. Stop waiting to wear the good dress. Stop waiting to tell someone how you feel. Stop waiting to forgive yourself. Because if a 71-year-old man who fell into kiddie pools and wore bowling shirts can leave that kind of legacy, so can you. But the best part? You still have time. And what you do with that time, that's your story. Coming up in the final part, we'll look at 3 powerful takeaways you can apply this week, including Harold's famous Thursday rule, the surprising reason he left behind a voicemail every Friday, and a final call to action that might just change how you live your next 10 years. Stick with me. This ending is worth every second. Let's pick up where we left off, with the small, surprising habits that made Harold's life not just full, but meaningful. Because it turns out it's not always the big decisions that shape your legacy. It's the small, consistent choices you make every single day. And no habit captures this better than Harold's famous Thursday rule. Now, don't go Googling this. Harold didn't invent some viral life hack. This wasn't about productivity or bullet journals. The Thursday rule was something Harold created for himself after a small health scare in his late 60s. Nothing major, but it rattled him just enough to reevaluate how he was spending his time. So he made a rule. Every Thursday, he had to do something just for joy. Not for money, not for obligation, not even for family, just joy. Some Thursdays, that meant driving to the coast and eating a slice of lemon meringue pie, alone, in total peace. Other Thursdays, he'd take a painting class at the community center. Or he'd blast 60s rock in the garage and clean his tools while dancing like nobody was watching. But the neighbors were, and they loved it. Sometimes joy was quiet, a new book, a long bath, calling a friend he hadn't spoken to in years. But the point was clear. He made time for happiness, on purpose. So here's the tip. Steal the Thursday rule. Pick one day a week where you don't schedule anything out of duty. Nothing that starts with, I should. Instead, do something that makes your soul breathe. Paint, sing, write a letter you'll never send. Buy yourself flowers. Take a nap and don't apologize. Because if Harold taught us anything, it's that joy doesn't just happen. It's chosen. The voicemail tradition, love on loop. Every Friday morning, without fail, Harold would call his daughter, his sister, and 2 of his lifelong friends. But here's the kicker. He didn't wait for them to answer. He'd leave a voicemail. Just a short one. Hey kiddo, it's Friday. I love you. No need to call back unless you want to chat. Just wanted you to know. Sometimes he'd add a little joke. Sometimes he'd share a memory. But every Friday, those voicemails showed up like clockwork. His daughter once told me, it was like a little anchor in the week. Even when I didn't listen to it right away, just seeing his name pop up, it grounded me. After he passed, she saved all those voicemails. Dozens of tiny time capsules. His voice, his laughter, his words. Think about that. Think about the people in your life who could use a Friday message. You don't need the perfect words. You don't need a reason. You just need 20 seconds and some love. So why not start now? You never know how much those messages will mean later. For them, and for you. 3 takeaways to carry. Forward this week. Now let's make this personal, because stories are beautiful, but action is where the magic happens. Here are 3 things you can try this week, straight from Harold's legacy. 1. The now or never list. Grab a notepad or your favorite app and write down 5 things you've been meaning to do. That old friend you've lost touch with. That park you always drive past but never walk in. That recipe from your grandmother you've never tried. That closet you've been too emotionally attached to clean. That bold lipstick you've owned for 5 years but never worn. Now circle one and do it this week, because someday always turns into never, unless you make it now. 2. The compliment challenge. Harold believed in compliments, not the fake, sugary kind, but the honest, soul-boosting ones. He once told a woman at the grocery store, "Your earrings are the reason I believe in joy." She laughed for 5 minutes straight. So here's your challenge. Give one genuine compliment to someone every day this week. Your barista, your neighbor, your own reflection. You'll be amazed at how much good it spreads, not just to others, but to you. 3. The 5-minute quiet. Every night before bed, Harold would sit in silence for 5 minutes. No phone, no TV, no distractions. Just him, his thoughts, and a little candlelight. He called it his reset. You can call it whatever you like, meditation, prayer, quiet time. But those 5 minutes were sacred. They helped him sleep better, think clearer, and wake up a little more at peace. Try it tonight. Just 5 minutes. It might change your whole day tomorrow. But before we go, one final story. On the day Harold passed, the sky was pink. Not metaphorically, literally pink. His granddaughter snapped a photo of it and later said, "I think he ordered that." And maybe he did, because Harold believed life had beauty tucked into corners most people overlook. He was the kind of man who noticed cloud shapes, who whistled while folding laundry, who genuinely believed that pie could fix most problems. And maybe he was right. His funeral wasn't grand. Just close friends, family, and a playlist he had pre-approved, titled "No Sad Songs, Please." They played James Taylor. They served lemon cake. They laughed. They cried. They wore color. And on the back of the program, printed in Harold's favorite font, was this: "You don't have to be remembered by the world. Just be unforgettable to the people who love you." That, right there, was his legacy. So what can we learn from a 71-year-old man who passed away this morning? We can learn that it's never too late to make peace. Never too early to pursue joy. And never too silly to leave a voicemail just to say, "I love you." We can learn that the things we think matter often don't, and the things we overlook, connection, laughter, routine, presence, those are what shape a life well lived. So go ahead. Start the Thursday rule. Send the text. Wear the earrings. Eat the pie. Your golden years aren't behind you. They're right now, and you get to choose how they shine. Up next, if this video moved you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below. What's one life lesson someone older has taught you? Or one you'd want to pass down? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who might need a little Harold-style inspiration today. And check out the other videos here on Golden Age tips. We've got practical wisdom, heartfelt stories, and even some bold-style ideas to keep your spirit glowing. No matter what age you are, you were here. Make it count. So, let's take a breath. Let it out slowly. Because everything we've talked about, from Harold's Thursday rule to his Friday voicemails, from the lemon meringue pie to the old letters he never sent, it all leads to this one simple truth. You don't have to live a perfect life. You just have to live an honest one. And isn't that a relief? No one's handing out gold stars for having the cleanest kitchen or the most color-coordinated sock drawer. No one remembers how many emails you answered or how many likes your photo got, but they will remember how you made them feel, how you showed up, how you laughed at yourself, how you remembered birthdays, how you made Tuesday mornings feel like holidays, how you stayed a little longer when someone needed company. Harold didn't win awards. He didn't trend. He didn't even know what TikTok was. But he left behind something so much better than recognition. He left behind reminders. Reminders that your presence is more powerful than your productivity. You're allowed to outgrow people, opinions, and even dreams. You don't have to do it all. Just do what matters. Joy is a choice, so is peace, and you deserve both. You are not too old to change, to try again, or to fall madly in love. With someone, with something, or with your own life. And if Harold were here right now, he'd probably offer you a glass of iced tea, sit down beside you and say, "Kid, if you're still breathing, you're not done yet." He'd remind you to stop saving the good dishes, to wear the perfume, even if no one else will notice, to play your favorite music loudly, to stretch in the morning like you mean it, to stop apologizing for existing, aging, resting, dreaming, He'd say, "You're in your prime, not the world's definition, your definition." And he'd probably end with this: "Don't wait for life to slow down before you start living. It already has slowed down." That's the gift. Now what are you gonna do with it? So what now? Take today and do one small thing that honors your life. Not Harold's, not your neighbor's, yours. Light a candle for someone you've lost. Call the person you've been thinking about. Sit in the sun and let it warm more than just your skin. Or write down one sentence that makes you feel grateful to be right here. Because here's the thing about death: it reminds us what it means to be alive. And while we're still here, let's live like it matters, not perfectly, but intentionally, joyfully, honestly, like Harold. Before you go, if this video helped you pause and reflect, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to slow down and breathe in the beauty of now. Drop a comment below and tell us, what's one thing you've learned from someone who's lived longer than you? Or even more powerful? What lesson do you want to leave behind someday? Let's build a community of wisdom right here. And if you're ready for more stories, more style tips, and more Golden Age wisdom, make sure you're subscribed to Golden Age Tips and check the links in the description for more videos that feed your soul and your closet. You're not too late. You're right on time. This is your Golden Age. So shine.